It's true, I don't want My Chemical Romance to get back together. Here's why. Well, that's certainly a bold statement to open up on. What's up, everyone? John from Beyond ARTV. It's time for a little look at why I don't want My Chemical Romance to reunite. Many of you know in recent days, and even years, there have been hints at reunions and possible theories on what's going on. The whole MCRX thing, yeah, that turned out to be a fluke. It was just the release of an album, The Black Parade being re-released with new demos and that sort of thing. But still, it got me excited because there was new music, and I was excited at that time about the possibility. But now, over a year later, and even after another teaser floated out there because maybe somebody hacked the website, we don't know exactly what happened, MCRX Tour was posted online, and nothing really came of that, at least at the time of recording this video, and people were excited about the fact that maybe there would be a comeback tour or some exciting new venture for My Chemical Romance. But let me tell you exactly why I don't want MCR to reunite. My Chemical Romance came at a very special place and time. They came during the early 2000s and lasted until 2013. They were built in the wake of the September 11th attacks, and that fear and animosity that they felt definitely channeled their early music. They went on to lead a generation of people into this emo, cathedral, theatric, over-the-top vibe, but at the same time, they also kept it real with their fans and the way that they interacted and just conducted themselves as human beings. They might not have always been perfect, but they were good examples for other bands in the scene, and they rose above the problems that they had in their early days. My Chemical Romance has been passed on to a new generation at this point, and that's great. They have a strong fan base. In fact, I would say that it is stronger than ever because people have passed it on to their little brothers, their little sisters, and they're just as popular, dare I say, as bands like Fall Out Boy that are still active. My Chemical Romance is special because they captured that time so perfectly, and they struck. They had that youth about them, but at the same time, they were able to give bold statements, sometimes daring to go a little bit political, getting a little bit more edgy with their lyrics, especially on The Black Parade as they gave commentary through the patient, who was the main protagonist of that album. But at the same time, My Chemical Romance slowly started to evolve into something else. By the time their final album came around, it was clear that Gerard Way was very much still passionate about comics and art in general. He did all of the artwork or else had it commissioned and just came up with it for Danger Days, The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys, and it was based around the idea of it being a comic or a bigger story. And you could see that his passions were starting to go elsewhere, but My Chemical Romance was still a big focus for the band. Danger Days definitely dropped off in terms of popularity and first week sales, debuting at about 105,000 first week, which was a big drop off considering their last album was massive. It was a blockbuster. It was The Black Parade, a generation-defining album. But still, fantastic stuff. Definitely a little bit more poppy, fun, bombastic, but it was at times lighthearted, at times serious, and it was a great mishmash. And honestly, I've come to peace with that being their last studio effort. At this point, why don't I want the band to get back together? Because My Chemical Romance needs to lay dormant. It was something that was so special, but if you try to spark it up again, it wouldn't feel right. It might feel like a cash grab to some, although you can't deny the money, especially if you are needing it at some point, and I wouldn't blame them if they do eventually come back, especially for just a tour or something like that. But I don't want them to fully reunite as a band because it was something so sacred, so special, and it came at that time in the world and in my personal life where I just don't feel like they could recapture the magic as a band. It's something where if they did come back and they decided to make new music, I wouldn't have qualms with it necessarily, and I would still be optimistic, but I think that it should just be left alone. It's one of those things where even if some of my other favorite bands at this point broke up, I would say, okay, that's extremely sad, as was the My Chem breakup for me. I was 20 years old at that time and very, very confused because I was in college and it was just a weird time for me. I didn't know what was going on because one of my favorite bands that I had always known and looked up to and respected was going away. But at this point, I've come to peace with the fact that sometimes good things just have to come to an end, and you don't have to constantly restart them. It's something, if you had asked me 2 years ago, absolutely I would have 100% said, let's bring them back. But at this point, I'm a little bit more cautious with my words. Another major reason why I don't want this band to get back together is because their passions all seem to lie elsewhere, and they're all succeeding at what they're doing. I'm so happy for Mikey Way. He got sober, he went through rehab after going through a very dark time in his life, and he's channeling himself through outlets like his band Electric Century and other different things that I've seen him up and about with. They occasionally get together as a group, and that's very cool. They attended a concert together, but all of the other members are all doing stuff. Ray Toro's got a great personality about him. I like his solo ventures that he's been a part of. Gerard Way obviously doing his solo career in music, but also more importantly, he's following his passions with comics and he's making things. Hell, he got his own Netflix series that's going to come out called Umbrella or something like that. I'm not exactly 100% sure on it yet, but I will check it out just because I like Gerard that much. At this point, it's clear that he's not focused on maybe having that image of being in My Chemical Romance or the ex-lead singer of My Chem. He's not using that to sell his comic books or anything like that. He's actually legitimately following his passions, and that is something that I can commend him for. Some people just don't know when to let it go. Other people, like My Chemical Romance, they let that spark go into the night. They know that people are going to hold on to that forever, and for that reason, that's why it's special. I will always be eternally grateful to My Chemical Romance. I have to emphasize that. And there is no disrespect, no hard feelings, nothing towards My Chemical Romance if they do decide to come back. It's not about that whatsoever. It's about the fact that, like I said, it was a special place in time. I have countless memories of just watching them on countdown shows, watching them being interviewed on TV, discovering their music for the very first time, listening to the Black Parade, going to buy it against my parents' will without them knowing. All of these other memories that just made me feel special, they connected with me, and their songs hit so much harder because they came at a certain time in my life. And for that reason, it's something that you always carry with you at a very special place in your heart. And to see some of these bands come back that I'm not as passionate about, and it doesn't really work out, or they broke up for a while, they come back and the new material is just average as hell, that's not what I want for My Chem. I want the fact that we've got these studio albums, we've got these compilations that we're proud of, we listen to and we love as fans, but we also accept the fact that they went off into that sunset over Monroeville. That's how I feel, guys. What do you think about My Chemical Romance? I know there's been a ton of buzz about them getting back together, and like I said, if they did another tour, I'd probably go to it, I'm not gonna lie. I'd be a sucker for it, but I don't really want new music from them. That's such a weird thing to say, even out loud at this point in my life, but I've come to accept it, so I would love to know what you guys think as well. Please drop a like on this video, and of course understand that I'm not hating on the fact that My Chemical Romance could at some point come back. I love it the way it is. Thank you so much for watching the video, hearing my side of things and why I don't want the band to get back together. I think everything that's out there right now about them reuniting is just rumors. It's only been 5 years, not even 5 years yet at the time of recording this video since they announced their breakup, and I think that they're all just too busy with other projects. They can still like each other and get along as people, they just don't have to do the band again. But that's just how I see things, so I'd be curious to know what you think down below. If you're able to support me on Patreon, it would be greatly appreciated. It's this annotation over in the corner. It helps me keep making videos on both channels on a monthly basis. If you'd like to see another My Chem video, right over here, or another recent video I uploaded on the channel right here. Social media is in the description, and I'll see you soon on Beyond ARTV.